Hi, thanks for joining me today. If you can draw a smiley face, you can make a ship on a rock or a boat on a rock. So, what we're going to do is we're going to show the easy way that you can make some boats and some really nice designs on rocks. If you can make a smiley face, then you can make a boat on a rock. Okay, so let's get started. What I did already is I prepared some rocks by just applying a base coat. And if you're not familiar with how to apply a base coat, all you do is you just get a clean rock that you want to paint and you wash it. Of course, once it's clean and it's dry, you just put a base coat of paint on there, which is usually white, but a base coat can be any color. You want to base coat the front and let it dry and then do the back. These are called scat mats, but they're also crafters mats as well. And what we do with these, in case you're not familiar with this, because I don't know, how far along you've come on your fun rock journey, and it is fun. Anyway, you use this because you can set your rocks there when it's wet to let it dry, and because it's open in the bottom and then the top, the air will clear it. Make sure that it can dry properly. So anyway, what I've done is I did 4 rocks with just base coats. These are rocks that I found while I was hiking, and they don't have to be in these particular shape. Like, see, this one looks like it got cut off. And actually, I prefer the rocks that are not bought because you get a variety of shapes and sizes, and so you really don't have 2 rocks that are ever alike. Now, if you look at your rocks, a lot of times the rocks will tell you what they want to be like. If you looked at this from the side, this looked like it could be a car. If you added 2 wheels there's the hood and the windshield, but I'm going to be doing both. So it depends on what your imagination is. Now, this would make a nice car rock. I could put 2 tires on each side, a door, a windshield, but I could also make this into a boat. So you want the longer rocks that you can use to make boats. And the longer your rock, the bigger your boat can be, or the wider. Now, this looks like a shark fin, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to also use this for a boat because it's going the long way. And I'm just letting you see how these work. Here's another one. These are all rocks that I found. See that imperfection right there? We're going to make that into perfection because this could actually be a mountain. If you look at this hole here, that could be a mountain with some trees on one side. And then we could have a ship or something on the other side, depending on how we want to do this. Or it could sit this way, and this could be the water. And then maybe we could do a tree coming from over that angle. I'm going to show you. And then here's another one. And you can just look at it, and a lot of times it'll talk to you. And another thing that I like to do is I like to see how well the rock is going to stand up by itself without leaning on anything. And then that helps me make a decision too. See, the rocks that when you go out hiking or you go out looking for rocks, you want rocks that'll stand up by themselves. See how this one stands up by itself? And then this one, you just take a look at it and see how it's going to stand up by itself. Like this side is leaning down further, so this will be my front on that one. This one is naturally going to stand like this, so this will be the side that we put it on. And then this one is either or, because when I put it this way, this kind of is the side that's raised, but when I put it this way, this is in the back, but this one is giving me more of a front vibe. So that first thing you do is you determine what side's going to be the front. And so that's what I've done. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is take the scat mat just to get these out of the way. And I'm going to give you an idea of what I'm going to do. Now, for supplies, you may want to invest in some of these. These are makeup brushes. They're eyeliner brushes. And you get I think you get 50 to 100 in a pack off Amazon for like $4.99. But these make very good small brushes because they're so small, the tips, they make great detail brushes and they're disposable. I use mine several times before I finally throw them out. And then I keep my used ones in here because I use them multiple times. Like, I usually get 4 or 5 uses or more out of these. And then these are the new ones, and this is how they come. You want the ones that are brushes, and they're eyeliner brushes. See? And they have caps, which keeps the brushes from getting ruined. So just wanted to show you those. Now, of course, you're going to need something to put your paint in. I'm going to be using probably 8 to 10 colors. So these I got at the dollar store. Look, you get like 6 in a pack, like $1.50. Our dollar store is now $1.50, but this will work perfect for what I'm doing. But in case you don't want to do that, you can always use your regular or tray or anything else that you want. But I picked up this at the dollar store. It's this Crafter's Square Tear Off palette. And so look, you can just use the whole thing as a palette. Just pour your paint directly on there. And when you get done, just take it off and throw it in the garbage when you're through. Okay, so I got a choice. I could either use this or I could use these. I think I'm going to use these because when you put it on this kind of paper, it will dry faster. And so if you're going to be just using a little bit of a certain color, that's fine. But if you're going to be using a lot of a color, which I am because we're going to be making boats, and so we're going to need to make water and things like that. You know, water for the boats to float in. So we're going to need more paint. So this will be great if you're not really needing a lot of paint. So we're going to set that to the side. That was just something I wanted to show you. And I'm going to be using these. So you want to start off by base coating your rock, which I've done, and you let it dry. I base coated this rock just by using white acrylic matte apple barrel paint. And I painted one side, let it dry, and do the other one. I do have a video on how to base coat rock. So if you need more help on that, take a look at my videos there and pull it up. But basically, you just wash the rock, dry it, paint one side, let it dry, and then paint the other. And then what you also want to do is you want to look at it to make sure it's covered good. You may need to put two coats. And it doesn't have to be white. It could be any color. Like I base coated some other color rocks. Like here's the blue one, a blue one that I base coated. And here's a greenish blue. Because what I do is when I get down to the last little bit of paint, I'll try to use it up. And I use it usually a lot of times for just to do writing or base coats. In this one, I used up the extra blue that I had with the blue with the green, and then I put a slogan on it. You are the miracle. So this one we're going to do first. So let's just say that this was already base coated and we went with blue. Since I already put something on the back, and I always put something on the front and backs of my rocks, even if I don't write words or pictures on the backs, I'll still paint them because it gives them a more complete look. Now, some people don't paint the bottoms of theirs. They say because they feel it's waste of time because it's going to be sitting in the elements if it's on the ground or nobody can see it because it's laying flat. But I just get a feeling that it's more complete when I do the fronts and backs. So that's what we'll be doing. So anyway, this one has been base coated and I just wrote out the words on there. Wrote, you are the miracle. So we're talking about making boats today. And here's the opposite side. And this is where we're going to put our boat. So let's just take a look at how would this sit. Okay, so this is one that's going to be sitting this way. So when this sits like this is a part that you're going to see. But we still want to put the boat on the other side. Okay, so we have it here with the blue background. Then I've added a little bit of white paint, and I'm going to show you how to do this as we go further. But let's start with this one since we're halfway there. Now, the colors of paint that you're going to need will vary. You do want to get some blue because you're going to be making water on it. You're going to need yellow if you want to do a sunset, or you may just want to do clouds in the sky with the blue, or you could do a blue sky with white clouds. But anyway, so you're going to use yellow and you're going to get a blue. This is bright blue. These are all apple barrel. You could use any color blue, but a good idea to have two different color blues or different shades because then I have the shades. I can use the blue as a dark color and use the light blue as an accent color. So you want to have blue. And if you only have one blue, that's fine because you can always add white paint to it to make it lighter, or you could add black paint to it to make it darker. So you don't actually have to go out and buy anything. If you have any one of the blues, we can mix those. And then, of course, like we're going to be using this for our sky, you want to have the white because the white is a base coat. And we're going to be using the white for some highlights in the water. Now, what I want to do is I like to have some trees on some of these in these boating areas. And so I went and grabbed a green. Any type of color green will do. Again, same thing. If it's too light or you want to make a two-tone, you can always add a darker color to it to make it darker or add white to it to make it lighter. But if you just happen to have both, then I have a spring green and then this one I believe is a bright green. So since I already have them, it's very rare that I have to mix colors to get a light color or a darker color because usually when you buy like your paints in a set, they have like 2 or 3 different shades of each one. But don't let that deter you from doing this because you can still make colors by mixing colors. And we can do a whole video on that. Then I got some reds. I think I might put some little red flowers on some of the trees that are going to be around our boats. Or maybe we'll even do a red colored boat. Then I add a little bit of gold just because it's metallic gold. Who doesn't like folk art metallic gold? So we're going to make it look a little bit like there's a little bit of royalty on our boat. And then I got this purple, which is called purple iris, but any color purple will do. And I got pink. And this will be because I might want purple flowers on some of the trees or pink, or maybe I might even want to paint my boat pink or purple. So anyway, that's what you have there. So we're going to start with our base coated rock. And this one has been base coated with blue, which is the bright blue. And then I took the light blue and I just put a few little highlights there. And then I made some clouds with the white, and I will show you how to do that. So let's get started. So we're going to go with our black. I always shake them up. I use these almost every day so they don't sit very long. But if you have some paint that's been sitting for more than a couple of days, you want to give it a quick shake before you start, just to mix it up properly. And what you're going to do is it's going to pour a little bit of the black into your paint palette. Now, the reason why I suggest these little brushes, because these things are a godsend. So I'm going to show you with the little brushes first. And if you don't have these, which you might not, you could always use regular brushes, because here I have my regular brushes and I just washed them. I always wash them, because sometimes they collect dust. And then one thing you want to do with your brushes when you wash them, you want to pull them forward in the direction that you want the brush to stay in, because you do want to wring them out. You can just do it by pulling forward. And I will show you also, in case you don't have the little brush that I was just telling you about, these little eyeliner brushes. If you don't have that, no big deal. You can do it with a regular brush as well. But I'm going to start with this because I want you to see just how nice it is to have these, especially when putting writing on rocks. Like when I wrote this on this rock, I use this. It's just so much easier. But anyway, let's just go with this. Okay, so I know that this is going to be sitting this way. So it's going to sit like this. So this is a side that's the big deal. This is the back, but sometimes the back can be just as exciting as the front, depending on where they're going to put it. So let's just start here. So we have our water already because it's blue, and our sky. So what we need to do is make that boat. And I said, if you could make a smiling face, you can make a boat. So here we go. Let's just make a smile. Start on one side, go all the way across, and make your smiling face. You are halfway there. That's how easy this is. And then you're going to start at the corner where you were, right here. And you're just going to go back down all the way across. And there is your boat. Simple, simple, but you're going to see exactly what you can do. And you have to let your imagination go so you can figure it out how you want to do this. Okay, so this is the boat. That's it. If you can do this, you've got it. Okay, now we're going to add a little more detail. Let's put a thicker end on this side and bring it down. Just like that. And we're using the black. And then let's go to the end on the other side. And let's just make that a little thicker and then bring that down. And we're going to kind of square it on the bottom. And so now there we have our boat. Now let's do something else with this boat, because I like to be kind of an extra type of girl, but we do have a boat and we have a background. Let's see. Let's put a steering wheel in our boat. So that's just going to be a black circle. And it's going to attach itself down here. So we're going to go to the end and attach it. And then just like we did when we made the double line with our boat, we're just going to go around here one more time, the steering wheel, and then we're going to fill it in with black because we have the black. We're going to do some things with this, with the gold afterwards, but let's just get this circle. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It can be as thin or as thick as you want. Okay, so we have that. Now we're going to want our boat to be in water. So we're still using our black. We're going to, let's just take the water and break it off about right there on the bottom. We know that that's going to be the part of the boat that's in the water, and this part is going to be the part that's out. Now you just want to even up your lines. Make sure everything is nice and even, and you're all set. Now, this is why I like these, because you don't have to wash these out. You could just set them to the side because you can use them over and over again. Okay, so now that we have that going, let's do something with our sun, because this is a boat. So we're going to take a little bit of the yellow and we're going to make a sun for the sky. So see, we have our yellow there for our sky. Now you can either, if you have dotting tools, you can dot a circle. If you don't, you can draw a circle. You could use anything that you want. You could even use, like, if you wanted to make a big circle, you could dap that in there and pop a sun in there. But I'm going to do mine specifically. I want mine a certain size. So assuming that you're just using brushes, we're going to just put a sunset right here. And we want it kind of thin. Just going to make a circle. Doesn't have to be perfect. You know, the sun is never really a complete circle per se, but it actually, maybe it is, but you don't have to for this. Okay. Now looking at the color blues that I have, this is a little dark, the blue in the background. So what we're going to do, may want to make this sun just a little bit more realistic. So let's make the sun a little less yellow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some white. And the reason why I'm using this is because I'm going to be referring to this on all the ones that we make. And we get another one of these little baby brushes. So let's just take a little dab and we're going to put this in the sun just so that it's not so bright, because this dark blue background makes it look like it's later in the afternoon than in a light sunny morning. So here we have that. Now, this is what I was talking about that I wanted to show you real quick. And it's okay that we're doing this way because we're going to do these other ones from scratch. But this one is the gold. This is the metallic gold. And I think this would look really nice as a gold colored boat. So I just got some gold and put it in here. And you get 50 to 100 of these. So you don't have to keep on washing it out in between. You can if you want to, but why? You can wait to the end and wash them. Okay, and then what we're going to do, we're going to go inside our boat and we're going to paint it gold. And these make such good brushes because it'll let you stay in the lines. And then once we're finished with this one, I'm just going to go through doing them and I won't be talking through the whole thing. So just want to let you know exactly what I'm doing on this one. So then when I'm not talking and I'm busy working on the other ones, you'll know exactly where we're headed. And you want to use that gold and you want to go in as close to the edge of the black line, but not over the edge, because this is how your boat's going to come out. See how nice that's coming? And so you want to just get that close to the edge there and then get it close to the edge. But you do want a little bit of the black to show on the outside because that's going to give you that 2 or 3 dimensional look. Okay, now inside here is our steering wheel. We want to go with our steering wheel. So we're going to go in here and we're going to use a little bit of gold for that because it is part of our boat. And let's color that in. And we will leave the black around the outside because that's going to give it a lot more shape. And then once this dries, we will go back in with the gold and give it a second coat. Now the metallic gold folk art paint is a little bit more expensive than the apple barrel, but it's worth it because they don't have these colors in apple barrel. They don't have the gold. So folk art is a very good one and it's metallic and it's going to shine. Now what we want to do, because we have this in the water, and we have the gold, we're going to put some waves, some gold waves in the water. And then we're going to go in, and here is the lighter blue. I'll just pour a little bit of that in our palette. And see, we're starting to accumulate quite a few colors in our palette, but we are definitely going to use them all because we have 4 more rocks to paint. So this is the one that I'm taking my time going over these things with you so you can see. But when we actually start to do the other 4, we're going to just go through them quickly and without explaining. Okay, so now with the blue, we have the blue on our little brush, and we're going to put some blue strikes, some blue little streaks, I mean, not strikes, blue streaks, just to give it the rippling effect. And lastly, we're going to go back in and get some white. And we're just going to give it a little bit more contrast and a little bit more color. And anywhere that you see that you may have a little bit too much white, you want to just go in with blue. Because the thing is, you want to give it a rippling look. And with all these colors mixed together, it gives it a very good look, more like a water wave. And then at the end, we're going to put some hologram glitter on here, and it is going to really pop. Okay, so we have our boat, and we have our little sun in the top, and we have our clouds. Okay, so say we wanted some more clouds in the sky because it wasn't enough clouds. We can just add some white there. Just some random little spots. And now we have it, okay? And so now we have this line where we drew our, see where we drew our black line because we knew we wanted to do our water decoration down there. I'm just gonna go over it with the white a little bit to get rid of that imaginary line. And then we're gonna tap back into our blue and go over that line. Because you don't really want specific, the white to be bold. You want to kind of to be blended. And this is the first one. So this is our first boat. And we have our sky. And we have our yellow sun. So what we're going to do, because I like this, I'm going to go in with a little bit of white on our steering wheel. And I'm just going to go around this circle to make that stand out. So I just want to make it stand out. And you be the judge of how you want this to look when you do it, because this is your masterpiece and it's fun to just create as you go. And like where I went around to outline my steering wheel, I wanted it a little thinner than what I did. So I went back in and added some more gold. And this is fast drying paint. So I'm going to give it its second coat now, because this folk art paint, acrylic paints dry fast anyway, but apple barrel and folk art really have a nice quick drying time. And you don't always have to wait for it to be completely dry when you're painting, because it's very blendable. Like I like the blending that I can do with the water when I'm making this because I don't have to wait for it to dry. And then like when you look at the water underneath the boat here, if you wanted a different thing, like I'm looking at this and I still want to see a little bit more of a darker color, I'm going to go with the bright blue, which is a darker blue than our first blue. And I just want to add some of that. And so what you're going to do is you're just going to go like this and it swerve, 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 like it's swimming. And this will give it a watery effect. And I'm going to go in here with that. And you keep on doing this until you are satisfied with your water. Now, I think the water right underneath the boat should be a little darker with the boat sitting on top of it. So I'm just going to go under this boat with a little bit of the darker blue. And this is coming along just great. And then now where I did my steering wheel, I don't want that to drip because you do want to pull your paint so that it's not dripping, because it's nothing worse than doing a good job and then having the paint drip everywhere. Okay, so here's our first one. And it's pretty good, I have to say. And so here's your boat. And then when somebody finds that on the back, it'll say, "You are the miracle." And then they turn it over on the front, and there's a beautiful boat. Okay, we're going to set the boat to the side so it can dry. And this side is wet, so this is the side that's going to, the other side is going to be the side that it lays on. Now, with those little brushes, sometimes they don't actually pull the paint as much as you want. You may want a smoother. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go upsize to a regular brush. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull the paint a little bit better on my boat. Because I don't want it to look globbed. You know what I mean? And this is your masterpiece. And so you do it however you think you want to do it. And of course, I got my water here. This is a little soap in this water, a little dishwashing soap. And then this one is just to rinse the soap out. And of course, pull it towards the front. Okay, so now you have the concept of it. So we're going to start our first one. So the first one we're going to do is this particular rock. And we've already determined what side we want it to do. So since this side sits out the most, we're going to do this side. So what we're going to do is you can use either a flat brush or a round brush. I'm going to go with the flat brush because it's going to cover a lot of the area. And I know that these are all going to be boats, so all the bottoms are going to be blue. So let's just go with the first one. Get that on there. This is your bottom where the water is going to be. And you want to take that all the way around on one side and the other side. Let's just get some more paint here. We're going to be using a lot of blue, so you want to just get all this covered in blue because this is going to be our water. We know that we want our boat in water. And because, like I said, I like to do the fronts and backs. So exactly what I'm doing on the front, I'm going to do it on the back too. So I want the blue going around because my boat's going to sit in this water. So to make it complete, I'm going to do the front and back. So let's just get our blue. And we're going to do all 4 of our rocks just like this. You're going to go all the way around and then get the bottom. Don't worry about it if you get any paint anywhere else because we can fix that. And then once that's done, you just want to set it to the side. So that's one. Here's the second one. Remember we said which side we were going to do it on? We wanted to do it on this side. And so that's what we will do. And you just want to take it up as far as you think you might want the water to go. You want to do at least, I don't know, a fourth of the bottom just to make sure. And it doesn't have to be even because water is never even all the way across. Water has like ripples and waves and it goes up and down. So we're going to get our 4 rocks covered. And like I said, don't worry about it if you get paint somewhere where you don't want it because you can always paint over it. And once you get the swing of it, it's not going to take that long. And then you just look at it. You got it going all the way around, all the way around. And that's just the bottom half. And let's go with the next one. Remember we set it up. So this side is going to be my side because this is the side that's going to be sticking out the most. And so we know we want water on the bottom. So this is the bright blue. You could use any color blue you want, but we're going to use the bright blue and we're going to use a lighter blue on it also, which is going to give it a little bit of contrast. And one thing I like about this is that if you don't like it, you can always paint over it. Because like the first one that I did with the blue bottom, and I added a lot of stuff to try to give it that watery look, it's going to be an interesting look. But I kind of do like the solid. This is a really pretty blue. And we're going to set that down to dry. And we have one more, this big one, and he sits like this. So we're going to need a little bit more paint And I usually buy like when I buy my paints, I try to buy the bigger bottles in the colors that I really like. But usually when you buy them in a set, you get a variety of colors. And then eventually you'll find out what colors you use more or less than other colors. So we are going to, this is a very odd shape, but it's not going to be odd when we get finished. Just wait to see how pretty this is going to be. And we're doing this the same way. We're going all the way around the bottom with this blue. And we don't need it to be perfect. We just need it to be covered. And you don't have to be neat. Anybody can do this. See, rock painting is supposed to be fun. It's not a lot of work. And I like it because it's relaxing. And plus, when I'm all done, I can put them out for finders because I do kindness rocks and I just give them all away in the end. And I have a couple that I keep myself, some keepers from time to time, but this is what I do. Okay, so we have that. Okay, this is the one that we finished. We did the bottom. Remember this one? And so this bottom still kind of looks weird. So I'm not happy with the bottom of this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back in. Look what I'm doing. And I'm going to change this to the dark blue because I think it looks better. And I don't mind a little bit of a contrast because it is water, but I think that's a little bit better. That's going to look better. And I'm going to leave the rest of it kind of like that. And I don't mind, I put a little bit of this water in here, you know, the blue that I make in my water. But yeah, I think that looks better. And you could say, you know what? I don't like the steering wheel. So if you don't like the steering wheel, look what you do. Just go right over it. So I'm looking at this and I go, maybe I was a little bit too gung ho on there. So I'm going to get rid of my steering wheel. But who knows? I might put it back. So it's totally up to you. So when you're working on a piece, and if there's something about it that you want to change, you don't need permission. You just change it because it's yours. This is your masterpiece. So right now, all I have, I went back over that one and I did the whole thing. So since I did that, I need to go back in with the gold and fix my boat, which is the easy fix too. Remember, if you can do a smiley face, you can make a boat. Well, this one is still going to have a lot of stuff when I'm done. But for right now, I got a different idea. And it's okay to get a different idea while you're painting right in the middle because you're the one that makes the decisions. Okay, so now I got some paint on my hands, but I don't care that much because I'm going to be using this color and I'm going to have this blue all over the place. So here's the first one that we did. We went around and using the same brush, we're just going to go into the lighter blue and we're going to put that as the next layer straight across. Because as the water gets deeper, the water gets darker in color. And you want to have a natural look. So we're going to go with the lighter blue on top, right above our dark blue. And it doesn't matter if it's a little wet. That's okay. It's going to be fine. Okay, and now that we have the light blue on the first one, we're going to set it here, but we are going to want a blue sky. So what we're going to do is we are going to go with this light blue while this is standing up, and we're just going to put our sky right on in. So basically we have two tones of blue. And you don't want it perfect. You don't want it perfect because you're going to paint on that. And then we're going to go with the next one and we're going to do the same thing. Let's get our light blue. And we're going to go do the rest of it. Start where you stopped with the dark. And this is going to be the next one. And you could even go into a third color blue, which is even lighter than this one for the top. But for now, let's just keep it simple, but you'll see exactly what we're doing as we go. And this stuff dries really fast. And so you can actually do this while it's still wet. Just try not to touch it too much where you did your dark blue. Because in the end, we're going to touch up anything that needs to be touched up. And then let's just go with the rest of this with this lighter color. And I'm going to show you what we're going to do because we're going to make that third color when we actually add white. So let's just get that all on there first and make sure the whole thing is covered. Doesn't have to be perfect because again, this is going to be water and we're going to do so much stuff to this. By the time we're finished, you're going to love it. Okay. And here's the next one. And see how fast that dries? So we're going to go in with a lighter blue and start that right above the line. You don't have to be careful either because this is yours. You can be as neat as you want, or you could just get it on there and have fun. It depends. Like sometimes I'm in the a mood of just doing it all perfect, making sure everything lines up. But I find that the original ideas that I have without trying to follow directions exactly, that I can get my own ideas. And I like my own ideas a lot of times, the freedom to be able to change it. Like the first time you do it, you may want to do it just like the person that's teaching you. But then once you get it down packed, then it becomes yours and you own it. And you'll figure out what you want to change on it. And it doesn't matter if this other blue gets in there because we're going to be making a big difference on these things, a big sky. And here's the last one. And look how huge it is. And this is going to be the sky up here. Now, I didn't start this one down there because I'm going to add a tree to this one when I'm after I get my boat. I'm going to do a lot on this one because this is a much bigger piece. This one probably is about 8 inches long, 7 or 8 inches. I can measure it. I got a tape measure over here. I'll measure it after we get some of this done. So on the rest of them, I colored the whole thing in blue. On this one, I left it a little bit of white. Now I'm going to go in with this white, and I got some blue on here because I just want a lighter blue. This is going to be the background. So you don't want the background white because this boat's going to be in the water. So we want to just give it kind of like a blue jean wash denim type of look. See how that came? And then you can just take a look at where you did, your painting, and anywhere you see smeared off or they got ruined, you can just cover it up. Okay, so there. Now we got all of our blue on. And what I want to do is I want to look at this one that I did the first one. And this one is just a little bit darker than what I wanted. So I'm just going to go back in here with this and I'm going to give it a lighter sky. I'm not going to touch the boat anymore. See, I got the boat, but I do want to give it a little bit of a contrasting sky to make it just look different. And this is my water down here. And so with that, I'm going to go with this little brush with this white, and I'm just going to put a few ripples here. And I'm going to put a few ripples. And I'll show you this up close in just a minute. This is just little ripples. I'm going to put some on this side. And so we have our boat. And when I'm looking at this, I still want this to be just a little bit smoother. So I'm just going to go in here and tease it a little. One of the hardest things I find for me about painting is waiting for things to dry because I have zero patience. But I love, love, love doing this. And then eventually it dries and I take care of it. And it's teaching me patience. And I still want my sun up there. Remember, I had a sun up here. So I'm going to just put my sun. I had it over here. I think I'm going to move it over here instead. And then with the sun, I want it a little smaller than what I made it the first time. Because this one is a smaller rock. You know what I mean? So there's the sun. And then I'm going to go around it with a little bit of this white because I don't want it so powerful. Because that's a very strong color, that yellow. Okay, now what I also want to do is, since I got my boat here, I'm going to outline the boat in white just so that you can see it better. Because this rock is so dark, that you can't hardly see it as good as I want to be able to see it. So I'm going to outline. This is what I was telling you about this small brush, this thing. Boy, I tell you, and since I've gotten this brush, these small brushes, it makes it very easy to outline anything, to do words on rocks. I mean, this is just it's a godsend. And it's only like $4.99. You get like 50 to 100 of these, and they're disposable, so you can use them as many times as you want. And then when when they start the tips start to fall off or break up, then you know to just throw them away. And like if you went over too much with the white, just go back in with your blue and bring it down. One of the good things I like about doing these ships and making water is that it doesn't have to be perfect, because you never know what you're going to find in the water. And there's no hard set rules. But what I like is you can go in and you can tweak. You can go in and tweak it however you want. And I like doing it this way. And if you don't particularly care for the way your lines end up, you can let it dry. And once it dries, you can go back in whatever color that you think you might want. I mean, I like this because I want it to look like, that this is really water. And it will once we get finished. Okay, so we have our boat and we have our little sun up there. And then let's just put a few little clouds up there again, because I'd like to have some clouds up there. And you don't have to really do anything perfect for clouds. Here's a good idea. Get a round or pointed tip larger brush and then just tap it. And that'll make you some really nice clouds. Okay, now this one we're going to let dry because we have did a lot to that one. And I'm still not going to wash my hands yet because I'm still going to make some more of a mess. So now we're going to go back in with this one. I want to look at what I did so far. And then I want to go ahead and put the second coat. On the second coat, you do want to be more careful to get it directly on the bottom. The first coat was great, but this one, second coat, is the one that's going to be on the top. So that first one was kind of like a scrub coat, not a base coat, but it was it gave you a build up color. So you were able to build up the color. And so now on this one, you really want to go directly over the parts that you want to be dark. Now that's getting your water on there is the biggest thing. Like what I do sometimes at night, like I did with the first one that I did, I'll do all my bottoms and tops first and let them dry overnight. And then I come back the next day and add my boats. So that was how I ended up having that one right there already ready. So let's get the bottom on there. And you don't have to worry about what order it's in. It's going to be fine. Get that bottom level. Get that on there. I'm going to keep it simple. Now, one thing you might want to do is if you are in a room and you have a fan, you can speed up the drying time when you're painting so that you don't have to wait for it to dry before you move to the next step. So sometimes I have a fan, but in my room when I'm doing it, but we're in the winter months right now, and so I don't. I got the heat on, and I didn't think about it until I got started, or I still would have probably done that. But that's okay. But see how nice and smooth that second coat's going on? Now, you probably could have got away with one coat, but I would suggest two, because one I think would have been too thin, because as you can see, you can almost still see some of the white underneath there. So you definitely don't want to skimp when it comes down to painting. It's better to have an extra coat than not enough paint. But usually 1 to 2 coats when you're doing something. Most things take 2 coats minimum. So when you're in doubt of how many coats of paint should you put, on average, start by thinking about you're going to need 2. But some things you might only need 1. But if you don't know for sure, if you can still see through it, you might need 3 or 4. So it's gonna take me a second to have me a little bit of my little Coca-Cola drink. I'm drinking Diet Coke, but I tell you, some people really enjoy a nice glass of wine when they're doing that. And they have a thing called sip and paint. And I think that that's it. That would be great for us rock painters to do a sit and paint live and talk about girl stuff because that is fun. I don't know. Like it's like now that everybody is so interested in the internet and things like that. People don't talk as much as they used to each other. A lot of stuff is like texting or messaging or going on chat or Facebook or TikTok or whatever. But people very rarely just sit down together and talk. But the new way of doing things is really cool because you don't have to leave home. You could actually do this on Duo or one of those messenger chats that you can like see who you're talking to and everybody looking at each other. Or it could be like I feel sometimes I just want to keep my pajamas on and I don't want people to see what I have on. I feel like painting and relaxing and I don't feel like dressing up. So when I feel like doing that, this is good. So I think what I'm going to do is a paint and sip um, next time, a tutorial paint and sip. And we will do something really easy. As you can see, I'm using my paint bucket to wash my hands. I do this all the time. But if you really didn't want it to be neat, you can wear gloves. I just don't feel like it today. Today is just one of those days where I don't care if I make a little bit of a mess. This is my little hideaway. And so what if I have to clean it up afterwards? It's not that bad. So, you know, I use my paint bucket because this is the one that has the soap in it. And of course, you always wash your hands before you even start painting rocks because if you have lotion on there, it will stop the paint from adhering to the rock. It makes such a horrible mess, and you don't want to do that. So, this blue is really a beautiful color blue. I just love blue. But I don't know, one of my favorite colors I love is red. It just depends on what I'm doing to that day, that particular day to determine which one's my favorite. So I did clean my hands off. And these little bitty brushes, I want to show you something. These little brushes, like this, I went to like 5 or 6 different colors. And all you do with these is you get them all together and you just drop them in a little bowl. And you let them sit in there for a little while, move them around a little bit. This is just clear water. And I'm going to show you, these are the disposable eyeliner brushes. And you just use regular water and you just rinse them off. Look, and let them soak in there and then take them out, let them dry, and you can use them again. Okay, so we just finished getting our water the way that we want it. And now what we're going to do is we want to go in with our light blue to work on our background. So since we already have done the bottom and it's drying, you want to be careful how you handle it. Now, technically, you could wait till the next day and do it. But because we're pressed for time, we're going to go forward today and do it this way. And what you're going to do is just going to go back over your lighter color, your light blue. I'm going to set that right there. And that's not going to fall. And then we're just going to go over because if it were dry, you wouldn't have to worry. You just pick it up, throw your light color on there. So, but for time's sake, I'm just going to speed it up and I'm going to do it while it's wet. And then what I'll do is after they dry, I will go back in and fix anything that I need to fix. But chances are they won't need to be fixed. And so we just want to go back in. And as you can see, we're just adding that lighter blue in the areas that we mixed. But all that's going to be taken care of. Just want to get that on there so we have no unpainted spots showing. And I'm sorry if this is a long video, but I'd rather have a long video and then once you're done with it, you know exactly how to do this and you can teach it yourself. Because, you know, whatever you get when you're learning, when somebody's doing a tutorial, you want to take what you can get from it, but you want to make it your own so that you can teach it. You can do it. Make yourself a teacher at it. Okay, so we've done that. So now what I like to do is I'm going to go get a dotting tool to show you how you can make your complete circles on these rocks. And plus, I'm going to allow this a few seconds to dry. And I'm just going to show you what dotting tools are. Now, these are dotting tools. People make mandalas and things like that with dotting tools. And here's a bunch of different sizes of them. And then here are some more. Now, it depends on how big you want your circles to be. For what we're doing, we're not making a mandala today, but we will be doing some later. But today we're going to make a sun. So this is all for beginners. And so what you want to do is look at the size that you would like your sun to be. So I'm going to put a picture of a sun in each of these. So for my bigger rock, I think I want a big sun. So what you do is you take this, and these you get from art supply stores. Some fingernail kits have them. These are about $4 or $5, and you get several different sizes like this. I think I paid $5.99, and you get all these different sizes. I think. See, I either got it at Amazon. Yeah, I got it from Amazon. Yeah, I didn't get these from Hobby Lobby. Okay, so because this one is, I love how this looks. Look at this. This one looks great. And so I'm going to have a sun. And what you do to get your perfect circle is, let me just do it slowly because just in case I'm assuming you haven't used this before, you just take it and you put it in. Just tap it. You just tap the color. And then you don't have to smash down on your piece when you're going to put your dot or your sun in there. You just want to lay it barely and you want to let the paint do the work. And there's a perfect circle for the sun. So we're going to set that down. And since this one is pretty big too, I think I'm going to put the sun on this one. It doesn't have to be the sun. You could actually do a moon, but I'm doing a sun on that one. Okay, and then after you get through using these, you can just take these and wipe them with a paper towel. And then you can swish them around, rinse, wipe it with a paper towel. The reason why I wipe it with a paper towel first is because the texture will just wipe right off. So it's so much easier to use these little rods. Okay, so we got the suns on those. Now for this size, I want this one to be nighttime. So I'm just going to do a moon on this. So let's go with, now watch what I'm going to do for this moon. I'm going to dab my dotter in black. Okay. This is going to be my moon. Okay. But of course we know a moon is not black. And then I'm going to go flip it over to the other side. I'm going to put the white directly on top for my moon. And then I'm going to put the black on top of it. There you go. Okay, so then I have my moon. Now what else? I think with my moon, I want a little blue in there. So let's just add a little bit of blue. I like this. And then I think what I want to do is I want it a little bit lighter. Don't be afraid to mix colors and don't be afraid to make a mistake. Because I've learned my best lessons from my mistakes. There, and that looks more like a moon. Okay, and we got this last one. Let's do a moon there too. Which with this one, we're gonna make the moon white. And that's fine. because a lot of moons are white. And you can stick those directly in the bucket if you don't have your paper towel handy. Okay, so we have all that done. Okay, so now the next thing we're gonna do is the fun part. So we have our water, we have the background, and we have our sky, right? So we need to get our boat. So let's see. So I'm just gonna go with this. Now I could use the little small ones that I showed you, those little ones, but I'm just gonna go with this one because this is probably what everyone has. And I'm gonna make the boat start. I'm gonna start it with black. And like I said, easy to make the boat. So here's the water, and we know we want part of the boat to be in the water and part of it to be out. So you just want to make that smiley face. And if you got that smiley face, you practically have it. And then now you want to go down under it and make another smiley face. That one's going to be in the water. And now you just want to connect the ends just like that. Now this one, I want to make this one a black boat because it's first of all because it's easy and that's the color that we used. So let's just color that in. Let's color it in. And then we want to keep these ends pointed. So let's go and make sure we're pointing these ends. And see, with the little brush, it's so much easier to make these points, these perfect points. And so that's one of the reasons why you probably want to get the smaller brushes because they are much easier to control. Okay, so there's our smile. But like I said, I want it to be more perfect. So that's why I really suggest, look at this. See how that really gives it that even. And then I needed a point there. See, I didn't have that point before. And we want to go under the bottom just to get our boat. And you just bring it right on around and down. And see, this side is a little higher than that side. So you want to match these up. You do want them to be even. And that's one of the reasons why I like these smaller brushes because they are so much easier to control. But you know, if you have a steady hand and you can do this with the larger brushes, then that's good too. Okay, so now what we're going to do with this, we're going to give it, let's put a line here in the middle of this boat. We're going to put a sail on it. And we're going to take this side down just like that. And we're going to take this one down just like that. And then we're going to even everything out. And then we're going to put a little flag on top. And then we're going to go in and straighten out all of our lines. And again, this is just 3 straight lines going down to make the sail. And there's your boat. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to look at our water and see how we have our boat here. We want to even this out. So we're going to go in with the blue and we're going to put it up to the edge of the boat and then across. We're going to fill that in. See? With that dark color. We want our boat to be completely under in the water. So you don't want parts to stick up. Some of the boat can be out of the water, but you really want the bulk of it, the bottom especially, in there. Okay. And you want to take care of the bottom. If you have any parts of the bottom that didn't get covered properly, And we got this little corner here close to our boat. Let's get that in there. Boom. That's good. And that one's good. Okay, so now we're going to set that on the side. Now here is our little one that we were working on. And for some reason, I still don't like it. I don't like that one. So I will try one more attempt to fix it to my liking. But sometimes, when you're doing rocks, if you're not feeling that rock, sometimes you should just cover it up and set it to the side until you can feel it, because it's not you when this happens. Sometimes it's just you and the rock are not on the same wavelength. Because, like, I got an idea of what I want to see in these rocks. And when I paint them, and of course I do the best that I can, but it still doesn't come out the way that I wanted it, you don't have to settle. What you do, and it's not a sign of defeat, it's a matter of just changing your mind. And you can do that because you're in control. And I didn't like the way that looked. So I'm covering it with blue, and I will set this to the side and let it dry, and I'll make something else out of it later. We're going to leave that right there. Okay, so now while that first one is drying, and look how dirty I got. It's a given, it's a given. And that's why I keep my little water bucket right here. And let's see, so far we've been going, oh God, I don't know, half an hour. I'm trying to hurry it up, guys. So let me just wash my hands. And then I am going to speed this up and go quickly through the next batch so that we can finish really quick. So I'm not going to talk anymore through the video so I can get it finished. And then that way we will talk in the end. But I said that before, but I talked anyway. I know. Okay, so here we go. I'm still here, guys. I'm trying to go through this quickly so that you can see exactly what we're doing. On this one, we're going to just put these little ropes on here just to make it different. And I'm going to go in here. I just want to make that kind of darker. And that's the boat that we have for this one. Now, look what we're going to do. We're going to get this dotting tool, and we're going to put some dots on here. See how we did that? And we're going to go in and we're going to even this up. We're just going to go in with a dark blue and we are just going to fine tune her. And we want to fix this sun moon deal. And I think we're going to go with a smaller dotting tool and we're going to put this little moon inside this color circle like that. And then we're going to spread it out. And what we're doing is we're just lightening this color up to make it look more like nighttime. And want to fix any colors that need to be fixed. That's the boat. Okay. And we have 2 more boats to do. So let's grab this. And we have a yellow sun. And so let's just grab our brush. And you can use various types of brushes. You'll find out which one you like best. We're going to go with a boat, smiling face with the gold. Underneath it, another smile. If you can smile, you can make a boat. And we're going to go inside the boat with the flat part of it. And you just want to make it even. And there's the boat. And let's do something else with this one. Okay, I would like to make a tree. So now this is bright green that I have here. It's a, not folk art, it's the other one, appleberry. And it's very thin, but you don't need that much. So you got to be careful when you use this because this is very runny. And what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to make a tree that's going to hang over. So here's what we're going to do. See the side over here? We're going to have it, let's start it in the back. Let's just draw a line on the back. We want our tree to be. So this is going to be our tree trunk. And then it's going to extend through the front like that, like a hand reaching. And I'll show you the back of it. See, here's the back. And you just want to put your tree in there. So you want to make it wide to get your tree in there. And then you want to put, we're going to put 3 fingers. Let's go 4. And we're going to get them so that they can show from this side. Okay, so while that's drying, we're going to look at the back and see where we got like a lot of little touch-ups that we need. So what we're going to do is we're going to do it. We're going to touch that up. And we are going to touch that up. So we just get our brush and we just go in here. And wherever there's white little spots, we just paint over them with our dark color. Now the scat mat does have those little pricklies in it, whatever you call those, spikes. And so they're going to put a little bit in there, but it's no big deal because after it dries, you would just have to touch up the 1 or 2 little spaces where it was setting on the scat mat drying, which is no big deal. But I figure since we did such a great job on the rest of that, we may as well fix it. Now, normally what you would do is you would wait for it to dry. But since we have a lot to get done here, we're just going to fix it as best we can. See, that's the back. Okay, that's the back. And this is the front. And remember, we just made this tree, remember? So let's go back in with the tree that we just made. And let's make sure these branches are coming all the way down. Okay, so now, do you see we have the branches come all the way down? Then wait till you see what we do to it. We're going to put leaves on those branches. But for now, we want to let this dry a little bit because we don't want to lose what we've done so far with the rest of it. But you get the gist of it. I mean, these videos are to help you get motivated, and to just see what happens, bloopers and all, because I mean, that's how I really learned how to paint. I learned how to paint by doing it. And the more I did it, the better I got at it. And even still, it's a learning, but it's fun. And I like it fun. It's like when you're watching somebody, they have it all together and everything. You say, well, they probably been doing it for years. That's why they don't make mistakes. But you know, some people are just naturally good artists, and some people, like me, have to work at it. But you know, in the end, it means that much more to me to have done it. Okay, so now I got a crap load of dirty brushes. So while that's drying, I'm just gonna wash some of my brushes. I mean, I have so many brushes, guys, that I could probably paint for a month without ever needing to clean off a brush. But if you don't clean the paint out of your brushes, they will they won't be any good for long. Once you get the paint in there, they harden up and it dries inside, and you know, it's just a disaster. So you definitely want to make sure you clean your brushes. And they don't have to be perfect when you're in the middle of painting. But what I do after I'm totally finished with my painting, I take all my brushes in the kitchen and I wash them all right there before I even go to bed at night. Cause like I almost paint like every day, and so sometimes I'll end up cleaning all my brushes several times a day. But while that's drying, I'm just going to show you something first. So first, what I'm going to do is, and if you're doing this with me, you could do it too. You can take a break and clean the brushes. Clean your area, run to the bathroom, get a cup of coffee, shot of vodka, who knows. Whatever it is that helps you to relax when you're painting, go ahead and do it. And I'm just going to, because you have to really be careful not to let it get too messy because it can. It can get really, really messy. And then look, these are all those little brushes that you can use over and over again. And you can use these brushes over and over and over until you find out, like when you wash them and the other part, they don't come clean, or if you start to wash them and the hairs come out of them, then you know it's time to throw them away. Now, some people said that what they did is that they didn't have very many dotting tools. And so when they lost the bristles came out of these little small disposables, they used them for dotting tools. So you might want to do that. I actually have dotting tools, so I don't need to do that. Okay, so we are going to take a 2-second break to clean this up so that we can come back and finish up our last few minutes. So while this is drying, I'm going to go wash my water and then I will be right back, ladies. Okay, guys, I am back. And what I did is I went and washed out some of my dirty stuff and cleaned some of my brushes. Gonna stick them in here for now, just so that you know I am still here. Now, some of you might want to put it on pause and come back and finish it. I do have some very fast 1 minute, 2 minute, 5 minute, 15-minute videos. But for this was a long one because a lot of women asked if we could do these in real time. So that's what I'm doing. So we're doing this in real time. So ladies and gentlemen, we do have 3 men with us. I'm going to have to take a cool off drink. And this is looking good. So I'm going to rinse these off and then I'll be right back. Okay, we are back. Now, for those of us who are watching the replay, you may